All right, so get ready because today we are going to deep dive into something kind of out there.
Yeah.
We're talking about those like soul whispers.
Oh, yeah.
Have you heard of the, those just like gut feelings deep down kind of defy logic almost?
Hmm.
And we're going to try to unpack this online article.
Okay.
It's called Once You Listen What Your Soul Speaks, Your Reality Shifts.
Hmm.
And in parenthesis,
Mhm.
it says 100% works.
Ooh.
100%.
It's a big claim.
I know, that's a bold claim. But hey, let's see what we can learn from it and how it maybe applies to you guys listening out there.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea right off the bat to define what we even mean by soul whispers.
Yeah.
Because it can be easy to just think, oh, that's just like intuition
Right.
or your gut feeling.
Yeah.
So for today's deep dive, let's define them as those urges that really pull us towards expressing our most authentic self,
Okay.
our deepest values,
I like that.
our desires. It's not always easy to hear them.
Right.
But like this article is saying, they can be incredibly powerful.
So this article just jumps right into it,
Okay.
saying that one sign you're hearing these whispers
Okay.
is that feeling of being out of place.
Yeah.
Like your job,
Mm.
your relationships,
Oh, yeah.
even your daily routine.
And it's just not fitting anymore.
It just doesn't fit
I
anymore.
guess.
And the article suggests that that discomfort could actually be a good thing,
Interesting.
like a sign that your soul is trying to push you towards something bigger.
That is fascinating because a lot of times we're trying to avoid discomfort at all costs.
Right.
But what if it's actually a signal that we're just like outgrowing our current situation?
Mm.
Like think about a time where you've had that feeling, the
Yeah.
restless feeling,
Oh, yeah.
like something needs to change.
Mm-hmm.
Was it truly a negative experience or did it ultimately lead to something better?
I think I know what people are thinking right now.
Okay, what's that?
Is this just the same old get out of your comfort zone advice?
Yeah.
But the article goes deeper than that, suggesting it's not just about pushing yourself for the sake of growth,
Interesting.
but it's about aligning yourself with what truly matters to you,
Okay.
what your soul is yearning for.
Yeah. And it's not always like a dramatic life-altering shift.
Right.
Sometimes it's these subtle whispers.
Okay.
This article talks about this intense desire to understand the why behind everything.
Like the meaning.
Yeah, to connect with a deeper meaning.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever found yourself asking those bigger questions?
No, yeah.
The ones that go beyond just satisfying your intellectual curiosity.
Absolutely. I remember hitting a point in my life where I was doing all the right things, quote unquote,
Oh, yeah.
but it felt empty.
Mhm.
And I started asking myself, what's the point of all of this?
Right.
What am I truly passionate about?
Big questions.
And it wasn't easy facing those questions, but it led me to a much more fulfilling path.
Yeah.
And this article emphasizes that these answers,
Okay.
they might not always be comfortable, but it's about being willing to face the truth.
Yeah, that courage to confront yourself
Right.
and explore even the uncomfortable truths.
Mm-hmm.
That could be really transformative.
So then the article goes on to say that listening to your soul increases those meaningful coincidences.
Okay.
You know what we call
Synchronicities.
synchronicities, yeah.
Yeah.
Like when you're thinking of someone and they call you out of the blue.
Yeah.
Now, this is where I get a little skeptical.
Okay. Why is that?
Isn't that just confirmation bias?
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
Like we tend to notice things that confirm what we already believe.
Well, it's definitely something to consider, but there's also research out there
Okay.
suggesting that our brains are constantly processing information below our conscious awareness,
Interesting.
picking up on patterns and connections we might not even realize.
Oh, wow.
So maybe when we're more attuned to our soul's whispers,
Hmm.
we're also more receptive to those subtle signs and synchronicities.
So maybe it's not like the universe is sending us special messages, but we're just more tuned in to receive them because we're paying closer attention to our
That's
inner world.
Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting.
So it's not necessarily mystical,
Yeah.
but it's just our perception
It could be.
that's heightened, and whether it's psychological or something more,
Right.
those synchronicities can be very powerful confirmations that we're on the right track.
But the article also says that this journey isn't always smooth sailing.
Okay.
It says that listening to your soul can trigger intense emotions,
Oh, okay.
even negative ones.
That's interesting.
It describes it as a purging of old patterns.
Yeah, that makes sense. If you're finally confronting those deep-seated fears or limiting beliefs, it's bound to bring up some strong emotions.
It's got to come out somehow.
Yeah.
But I think it's important to point out,
Yeah.
if those feelings become overwhelming,
Hmm.
seeking professional help is crucial.
Absolutely. This is about Empowering yourself,
Right.
not pushing yourself to a breaking point.
The article seems to be saying that those intense emotions, when processed in a healthy way,
Right.
can actually be a sign of growth.
Yeah.
It's like we're shedding those old layers that no longer serve us.
Which brings us to the next sign that the article highlights.
Yeah.
That's a great example of how this shedding can manifest in different areas of our lives.
For sure.
It's not just about big dramatic changes.
Yeah.
It can be those smaller shifts that help you align more fully with your true self.
And often those whispers,
Yeah.
they get louder and clearer the more we listen to them.
It's like a muscle.
Yeah.
You gotta work it out.
The article calls it intuition amplified.
So those gut feelings, those aha moments,
Yeah.
they become more frequent and pronounced when we're in tune with our soul's whispers.
That's the idea. And what's interesting is that science is starting to kind of catch up
Okay.
with these ancient concepts.
Oh, wow.
Research on intuition suggests that our brains are constantly processing information
Okay.
below our conscious awareness.
Interesting.
And those insights often emerge as intuitive knowing or gut feelings, like those aha moments you were talking about.
So maybe they aren't so random after all.
Maybe not.
They could be the culmination of all of that subconscious processing,
Yeah.
filtered through the lens of our deepest values and desires.
It's certainly a possibility. And the more we trust those intuitive hits,
Right.
even when they don't make logical sense, the more powerful they become.
I like that. So this is all incredibly fascinating.
Yeah.
But I'm curious to know what specific examples the article gives.
Okay.
How do these soul whispers manifest in real life?
Well, one example it gives is feeling inexplicably drawn to a certain career path.
Okay.
Even though you can't logically explain why, it's like your soul knows something your mind hasn't caught up with yet.
So trusting that inner knowing
Yeah,
could lead you down a path you never would have considered otherwise.
it could. It's like taking the scenic route
Yeah.
instead of relying solely on the GPS.
Right.
You might discover these hidden gems
Right.
you would have missed otherwise.
I love that analogy.
Yeah.
So it's about embracing the unknown
Mm-hmm.
and trusting that your soul is guiding you towards something meaningful.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And sometimes that means letting go of those old familiar paths.
Yeah.
Even when it feels scary.
Which ties into the article's next point.
Okay.
Your soul won't let you live a lie.
Mm.
It pushes you to be your most authentic self,
Yeah.
to strip away those masks that we wear,
Right.
to please others or fit in.
This resonates with the growing body of research on authenticity
Oh, yeah.
and its impact on well-being.
Mm.
When we try to be someone we're not,
Yeah.
it creates this disconnect between our inner and outer worlds.
It's like wearing a costume that's too tight.
Oh, that's a great analogy.
It might look good on the outside,
Yeah.
but eventually becomes unbearable.
Yeah. And the article suggests that those moments when we feel like we're pretending, those are actually our soul's whispers trying to get our attention.
Oh, wow.
They're a call to step into our power and embrace our true selves,
I like that.
quirks and all.
This is really resonating with me. I've definitely had those moments where I felt like I was living someone else's life. Trying to fit into a mold that just wasn't me.
I think we all have.
It is exhausting.
It can be incredibly draining to deny our authenticity.
Yeah.
And what's fascinating is that this article claims that a sense of inner peace,
Okay.
even amidst chaos, is a sign that you're aligned with your soul.
That seems almost paradoxical.
Yeah.
How can you experience inner peace
Right.
when everything around you feels chaotic?
That's the beauty of it. It's not about ignoring or denying the challenges.
Right.
It's about cultivating a deep sense of calm that transcends those external circumstances.
Okay, I'm starting to see how these pieces fit together.
Yeah.
But the article makes it clear that this isn't just about passively listening to those whispers.
Right.
It's about taking action.
That's where the rubber meets the road.
Right.
It's not enough to just hear them.
Yeah.
We must act on them,
Right.
even if those actions feel small or uncertain at first.
Yeah. So what would taking aligned action look like in this context?
Okay.
What are some practical examples that our listeners can relate to?
Well, it could be something as simple as starting a daily journaling practice
Oh, yeah.
to connect with your inner voice, or as significant as making a career change
Yeah.
that aligns with your passions.
Yeah. Or it could be about setting boundaries in relationships that no longer serve you,
That's a good one.
or investing time in creative pursuits that bring you joy.
Yes.
It's about identifying those whispers and then taking those courageous steps, big or small,
Yeah,
to bring them to life.
exactly. And that's what we'll delve into further in our next segment.
Okay.
We'll explore the different ways we can translate those soul whispers into concrete actions,
Yeah, right.
and how those actions can ultimately lead to a reality that reflects our most authentic selves.
Sounds good. I can't wait.
Yeah, me too. So welcome back to our deep dive into soul whispers.
Back again.
And before the break, we were discussing how important it is to take action
Yes.
on those whispers instead of just, letting them float around in your head.
It's like having a brilliant idea for a novel, but never actually sitting down to write it.
Exactly.
This article that we're unpacking,
Yeah.
it's big on this idea
Okay.
that action, even in small doses, is key to aligning your reality with your soul's desires.
It's about moving from the realm of contemplation into the realm of experience,
I like that.
actually embodying those whispers in your daily life.
So it's not necessarily about making huge sweeping changes all at once.
Right.
It's more about those consistent smaller steps
Exactly.
that build momentum over time.
Precisely. And the article even gives the example of starting a gratitude journal.
Oh, okay.
It might seem like a small thing,
Yeah.
but regularly focusing on what you're grateful for can shift your energy
Right.
and open you up to noticing more abundance in your life.
That makes me think about those times where I've been in a funk
Yeah.
and I'll just force myself to write down 3 things I'm grateful for.
Hmm?
And it actually starts to shift my perspective. It's like those small acts of gratitude create a ripple effect.
Exactly.
Make me more aware of the good things even amidst the challenges.
So training your mind to focus on the positive,
Right.
which in turn can attract more positive experiences into your life.
I like that.
Yeah.
But the article also acknowledges that sometimes those soul whispers call for bolder actions.
Yes.
Like quitting a job that's draining your soul,
Ooh, yeah.
even if you don't have another one lined up yet.
That's a scary thought for a lot of people,
That's terrifying.
especially in today's world.
Yeah.
But I can see how staying in a situation that's completely misaligned with your values could be even more damaging in the long run.
It's like ignoring that flashing warning light on your car's dashboard.
Yeah.
Eventually something's going to give.
And the article frames those bolder moves as acts of courage and trust.
Oh, okay.
Trust that the universe will support you
Mm-hmm.
as you align with your soul's purpose.
Okay.
It also emphasizes expressing your creativity as a form of aligned action.
So those urges to write paint dance or
Yeah.
start that business you've always dreamed of,
Exactly.
those could be your soul's whispers guiding you toward a more fulfilling path.
That's the idea.
Okay.
It's about giving voice to that unique spark within you,
Mm-hmm.
allowing your soul to express itself
Yeah.
through your creative endeavors.
And it doesn't have to be about creating a masterpiece
Right.
or achieving some external measure of success.
No, not at all.
Mm,
It's more about the process of creating itself,
right.
the joy and fulfillment that
Yeah.
come from expressing your authentic self.
I know for me, when I make time for creative pursuits,
Yeah.
even if it's just for a few minutes each day,
Mhm.
I feel more energized
Yeah.
and connected to something bigger than myself.
I love that.
It's like those creative acts nourish my soul.
Nourishing your soul.
Yeah.
Love that phrase. And the article suggests that when you start taking aligned action,
Okay.
things begin to shift in your external reality as well.
So it's not just about feeling better internally. Right.
It's about seeing tangible changes in your outer world.
Exactly.
What kind of changes does the article talk about?
Well, it mentions that relationships that no longer serve you
Okay.
might naturally fall away.
Oh, wow.
You might find yourself attracting new opportunities
Uh-huh.
that are more aligned with your true self.
Mhm.
And you might experience a greater sense of abundance and flow
Ah.
in different areas of your life.
It's like those actions create a ripple effect.
It's like you're sending out a signal to the universe,
Right.
and the universe responds by bringing those aligned experiences into your reality.
Okay, but from like a more psychological perspective,
Yeah.
could it also be that as you become more aligned with your true self,
Mm-hmm.
you start to make different choices,
Right.
you perceive opportunities you might have overlooked before,
Yeah,
and you attract people who resonate with your authentic energy.
I think so.
So it's not necessarily about the universe magically rearranging things for you,
Right.
but rather your internal shifts.
Create the conditions for those external changes to occur.
Exactly. And the article really emphasizes this idea that our inner and outer worlds are interconnected.
Okay.
When we change from within the world around us, reflects that change.
That's deep.
It's not about forcing things to happen,
Right.
but rather allowing them to unfold naturally,
Mm-hmm.
trusting that the universe is conspiring to support you on your journey.
I like that, but let's go back to this idea of reality actually shifting.
Okay?
The article uses that phrase a lot, and I'm curious to hear your perspective on what that really means.
Well, from a quantum physics perspective, there's this concept that our consciousness actually influences reality.
Wow.
So maybe when we align with our soul's purpose,
Mm-hmm.
we tap into a different frequency or vibration that attracts a reality more aligned with our desires.
Okay, now we're really getting into the woo-woo territory here.
We are.
But I have to admit, there are times when I've experienced things that defy logical explanation.
Yeah.
You know, those synchronicities that feel like more than just coincidence?
Yeah.
It makes you wonder what else is possible.
It certainly does. And I think that's what this article is inviting us to do,
Okay.
to open our minds to possibilities beyond our current understanding.
Mm-hmm.
Whether we attribute those shifts to quantum physics, universal energy,
Right.
or simply the power of our own subconscious mind,
Mm-hmm.
the impact can be profound.
So how do we know if we're actually experiencing this reality shift?
That's a good question.
What are some signs to look for?
Well, the article suggests paying attention to those subtle shifts in your energy,
Okay.
your relationships, the opportunities that come your way,
Mm-hmm.
and your overall sense of fulfillment and purpose.
Okay.
It's not necessarily about dramatic overnight transformations,
Right.
but rather those gradual shifts that create a more aligned and joyful life.
So it's about those moments when you look back and realize,
Yes,
wow, my life looks completely different than it did a year ago. And
Yeah.
it feels so much better.
exactly. And those shifts often happen gradually, almost imperceptibly, until one day you realize you're living a life that's more aligned with your soul's whispers.
I like that. This has been so insightful. We've covered a lot of ground, from the importance of taking action to this mind-bending concept of reality shifting.
It is pretty wild.
But I'm curious to hear your thoughts on the article's overall message.
Okay.
What do you think is the key takeaway for our listeners?
I think the most important message is that we all have this incredible inner guidance system available to us
Okay.
if we're willing to listen
Mm-hmm.
and take action.
Right.
It's about trusting those whispers,
Yeah.
even when they don't make logical sense,
Right.
and allowing them to guide us toward a life that feels more authentic and fulfilling.
I love that. It's about empowering ourselves to become the architects of our own reality.
Yes.
Co-creating a life that reflects our deepest values and desires.
Absolutely. But before we wrap up this segment,
Okay.
I want to circle back to something you said earlier about those bolder actions,
Mm-hmm.
like quitting a job or ending a relationship.
Mm.
Hey, those can be really tough decisions.
They are.
And I'm sure some of our listeners are wondering how to know when it's time to take such a leap.
Yeah. That's a great point, and it's something we'll explore further in our next segment.
Okay, sounds good.
We'll delve into the nuances of discerning those soul whispers
All right.
and how to navigate those bigger life decisions with courage and clarity.
Awesome. I can't wait.
Welcome back, you guys. So before the break, we were talking about those soul whispers and
Yeah.
how they sometimes nudge us toward, like, big changes.
Mm-hmm.
Those kind that make you take a deep breath and wonder, am I really ready for this?
It's true. Those bigger decisions, like
Yeah.
walking away from careers or relationships that no longer serve us,
Right.
they can be incredibly daunting. But often,
Yeah.
they're the ones that propel us towards those, like, most profound transformations.
I think a lot of us struggle with knowing when to take that leap.
Yeah.
Like, is this just a temporary rough patch?
Mm.
Or is my soul truly telling me it's time to move on?
Hmm.
How do we differentiate between those, like, fleeting doubts
Right.
and those deeper soul whispers that are, like, urging us towards something different?
It's a question so many of us grapple with, and there's no one-size-fits-all answer.
Right.
But one thing that's helped me is asking myself, if fear wasn't a factor, what would I do?
Oh, wow.
A lot of times our soul's whispers get drowned out by that loud voice of fear.
That's such a powerful question.
Yeah.
It really cuts through all the noise, helps you tap into that deeper knowing.
Like taking fear out of the equation allows those whispers to become louder and clearer.
And another thing to consider is the recurring patterns in your life.
Oh, yeah, good point.
Have you been feeling this nudge for a while?
Right.
Is it showing up in different areas of your life?
Like if you're consistently feeling unfulfilled in your career
Yeah.
and your relationships are feeling strained,
Okay.
that could be a sign that there's a deeper misalignment at play.
Like it's all connected somehow.
Yeah, it's a strong indicator that something needs to shift.
Okay.
And remember, those soul whispers.
Yeah.
They're not always about making those drastic changes.
Right.
Sometimes it's about making smaller adjustments within those areas to create more alignment.
So maybe it's not about quitting your job entirely,
Right.
but having a conversation with your boss about shifting your responsibilities or exploring opportunities for growth within the company.
Or maybe it's about having an honest conversation with your partner
Right.
about
Wow.
your needs and working together to create a more fulfilling relationship dynamic.
That's a good point. It's about becoming aware of those whispers,
Yeah.
trusting that inner guidance, and then taking steps, big or small, to create a life that feels more authentic and aligned.
As we were discussing earlier, this often leads to that ripple effect
Right.
where those inner shifts start to manifest in your external reality.
So let's circle back to this idea of reality shifting.
Yeah.
It's such a core concept in this article.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm curious to hear your perspective on how we can actually make this happen in our lives.
Yeah.
Is it just about taking action, or is there something more to it?
I think it's a combination of factors.
Okay.
Action is crucial, but there's also this element of surrender involved,
Interesting.
a willingness to let go of the old and embrace the unknown.
So it's about taking those aligned actions
Mm-hmm.
and trusting that the universe will meet you halfway.
Yeah, it's like you're setting the intention,
Right.
taking the first step, and then allowing things to unfold naturally.
It's like almost surrendering control a little bit.
It's about becoming a co-creator with the universe
Oh, I like that.
rather than trying to force things to happen.
And as we discussed earlier,
Yeah.
this often involves leaning into those synchronicities, those seemingly coincidental events
Mm-hmm.
that feel like they're guiding us toward our destiny.
It makes you wonder.
It really does. This whole conversation has really got me thinking about my own life. I've definitely had those moments where things just seem to fall into place effortlessly, as if some unseen force was orchestrating events behind the scenes.
I think we've all had those experiences.
Yeah.
And the article suggests that the more we listen to our soul's whispers
Right.
and take aligned action, the more frequently those synchronicities occur.
So maybe it's not about attracting good luck
Yeah.
or manipulating the universe,
Right.
but rather about aligning ourselves with a frequency that allows those serendipitous events to flow into our lives more easily.
I think that's a beautiful way to put it.
Yeah.
It's about becoming a vibrational match
Mm-hmm.
for the experiences we desire.
I like that. And remember, this journey isn't always easy.
No, it's not.
There will be challenges, setbacks, moments
Yeah.
of doubt,
Right.
but it's in those moments that we need to lean into our inner knowing.
Yeah.
Trust that we're being guided and keep taking those aligned actions.
This has been such a fascinating deep dive.
It really has. We've explored some really deep concepts today. You
Yeah.
know, discerning those soul whispers to the idea of reality shifting.
Right.
I feel inspired to pay closer attention to those subtle nudges
Yeah.
and trust that inner guidance more fully.
And I hope our listeners feel empowered to do the same.
Absolutely.
Remember, even the smallest step in the right direction can have a profound impact on your life.
So as we wrap up this episode, I
Right.
want to leave you with a final thought. What soul whispers are you hearing right now? What nudges are you feeling deep down?
Good questions.
And what one small step can you take today to honor those whispers
Mhm.
and move toward a reality that reflects your truest, most authentic self?
Remember, you have the power within you to create a life that feels aligned, joyful, and purposeful.
I love that.
It all starts with listening to those soul whispers and taking those courageous steps toward the life you're meant to live.
So powerful. Thank you so much for joining me today for this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
I hope this conversation has sparked some new insights and maybe even inspired you to take some action in your own lives. Until next time, keep listening, keep trusting, and keep creating the reality you desire.
Yeah, see you next time.